So you're new into the investment space. You have 1,000 rand for yourself and you want to invest into shares. What strategy do you use every single month with 1,000 rand? How do you invest that money? How do you divide it? How do you share it? Which company do you pick? That's the conversation we are covering today on the Investors Chair podcast with myself, Ivan Sambo. So guys, not wasting any time, let's jump right straight into today's conversation. Wonderful people, as I said, welcome to the Investors Chair podcast with Ivan Sambo. I won't waste your time by apologizing about why I disappear. Guys, I get overwhelmed sometimes by content and I take a break and I come back and I get overwhelmed again and I take a break and I come back. So please guys, get used to it. It's something I wish I could not be doing, but when I feel overwhelmed, I just want to disappear. And that's what I do. So my apologies for that. So let's jump straight into the conversation we are having today. How do you invest 1,000 rand every single month for yourself if you're new into investment? Obviously, the first thing you need to do is getting yourself a broker. What the nice thing about technology nowadays is a broker is an app you download into your phone. So you need to find for yourself a broker that's cheap because you have 1,000 rand. You don't want to pay so much money in fees. So you need to get a broker that's cheap. Number two, you are new into investment, so you need a broker that when you download the app is user friendly. Number three, you also want an app that will not complicate your investment journey, meaning having too many interfaces and many things happening there. So if I have to pick, you are not down to three brokers that you can download. Number one being Brostock. Number two being Easy Equity. Number three, I'm loving the Standard Bank integrated investment that's inside the Standard Bank banking app. Is easy to use as well. So those are the three best ones from my personal opinion. It's not financial advice. So you pick the broker that you love. Now you have a broker. Second step, how do you invest the 1,000 rand you have with that specific broker to buy shares in the JSE? For me, I say take the 1,000 rand you have, divide it three ways. Divide it by 300 rand. Divide it by saying 300 rand, and 400 rand. Dividing it into three ways. The first 300 rand you have, for me, if I'm new to the For me, if I'm new into the JSE, the first thing I will do with that first 300 rand is to invest domestic, invest into the South African market. How do I go about that? Is for me, inside my broker, picking an ETF that will give me exposure to the South African market at large. Meaning I'll buy an ETF in the JSE via my broker I have chosen that will give me exposure to one ETF. Let's say, for example, the Satric Top 40 ETF. Meaning that for 150 of the first 300 rand, I will buy the Satric Top 40 ETF, because now when I buy that Satric Top 40 ETF, I'm getting exposure to all the top 40 biggest companies in South Africa with just one buy or with just 150 rand. Now I'm invested into the biggest 40 companies in South Africa. I don't have to worry about going to pick one. No, I have all of them, right? The other 150 of the first 300 rand of my bigger 1,000 rand will go to picking a ETF again that will expose me into a specific industry. Right? If you're someone that loves mining, I will go and buy an ETF like the Satric Rizzi 10 ETF, which will give me exposure to the top 10 biggest mining resources companies in South Africa, right? I put my 150 there, so I have two ETF. The first two ETF I'm buying, 150, right? That give me exposure to South Africa. The first ETF gives me exposure to South Africa in general with the Satric Top 40 ETF. The second 150 with that 300 rand of a bigger 1,000 rand gives me exposure to a specific industry I'm interested in South Africa. And for example, the mining industry, and I have the Satric Rizzi 10 ETF bought. Right? So now I am invested in South Africa with the first 300 rand. The second 300 rand I'm going via the broker I have chosen through the JSE, and I'm going international with it, right? So using my same broker, I will go to a JSE and pick an ETF give me exposure to their what do you call this, to the international market, right? And what ETF out there gives you a great exposure to the international market, like the S&P 500. So I'll take the second 300 rand, I will take 150 from it and invest into an ETF that gives me exposure to the S&P 500, right? So when I get exposure to the S&P 500, I know I am now invested 150 into the 500 biggest companies in the world. I am covered international. And also the other 150 of the second 300 rand, I will go and do the same thing I did in South Africa, go international and look at the specific industry that I like and find an ETF that cover it and it's entitled or cover majority of the industry. So in international, I will pick an ETF that's focused into tech and put 150 into it as well. So now I have exposure to the South African market and the South African mining industry. International, I have exposure to the S&P 500 biggest companies according to Standard & Poor. And I also have exposure to what? To the tech side international. Obviously, it would be mostly the US, right? So now I'm left with 400 rand. In the 400 rand, I'll pick 4 companies domestically or international that I can buy for 100 rand each that I like and I have understood, or I see every day, and I think there's potential for these companies to exist in the next 10-15 years. For example, companies like ShopRite, Discover, Capitec Bank, what else? Like such companies, McDonald's, if you like McDonald's, I will pick such companies and put 100 rand each. The reason I will pick those four companies is to buy their individual shares instead of ETF. That's as well to train myself to better understand how individual companies work, how the market work, and train myself in understanding investments. Because when I am invested into something, I put my money into it, I will take it seriously. Right? So that's how, if I'm a beginner into the JSE, I will invest 1,000 rand a month. And I'll do this thing every single month, buy the same thing over and over again until reach time where I review my portfolio and say, hey, I've been doing this strategy for 2 years now, or 1 year, or 6 months. Let me change it up and spice it up to something else. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to tell you how would I spice it up afterwards. Let me know in the comment section. But that's the strategy I will use if I was a beginner in the JSE with 1,000 rand to invest every single month. Guys, if you have any question, let me know in the comment section of this episode. But as always, guys, do remember, nothing I say constitutes as financial advice, but it's only for educational purposes. Until next time, guys, love and respect. Happy investing.